Welcome to the Empowered Working Mom Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Jocelyn Young. Our mission here is to amplify the stories of all moms so that they can be seen, heard, and supported in their motherhood journey, regardless of whether they're balancing motherhood with an external career or choosing to dedicate themselves fully to motherhood. We believe here that everyone has a unique story, and we found that storytelling is an impactful way to connect and learn from one another. Because sharing and listening to each other's stories makes us feel connected, supported, and inspired. We're excited to bring you diverse stories from fellow working moms like you. So grab your favorite drink, get cozy, and listen in to today's story to feel acknowledged, encouraged, and most importantly, that you're not alone in your experience as a working mom. Hey mama friends, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host Jocelyn, and today is a special one. We're wrapping up season 6 of the Empowered Working Mom Revolution podcast. And I wanted to take a moment to reflect on what this season has been all about. We've heard 11 incredible stories from moms who have bravely shared their journeys with us. And through each conversation, there have been several powerful truths that kept coming up. And so today I wanted to bring all those gems of wisdom together and explore what they mean for you and your own motherhood journey. But first, let's kind of tap into our own experience here. Maybe this resonates for you because it sure does for me. Like, do you ever find yourself doom scrolling through social media, and then you happen to land on another mom's account and it seems like she has it all figured out? Like maybe she's got the perfect work-life balance, her kids are thriving, she's pursuing her passions, and she's somehow doing it all with a smile on her face. And then you're sitting there wondering to yourself, like, am I the only one who feels like I don't have it together? Or am I the one who can't give 100% to everything? Am I the only one who questions if I'm doing this motherhood thing right? Sound familiar? Because I bet you resonate with that yourself, because I sure do. Now, here's the thing though. That Pinterest perfection, that highlight reel of mommyhood, that's not the vibe anymore. And that's what I'm noticing also around me in my own community, but also in spaces on social media. What we need are real, honest conversations about what it actually looks like to navigate motherhood. I'm seeing those pop up here and there. You know, people being really honest and true about the messy parts, also the beautiful parts, and the parts where we're figuring it out as we go. And that's exactly what this podcast is about. Bringing you those real conversations with moms who are willing to share the truth about their journeys, not just the polished version. So let's get real about what those struggles actually look like in our day-to-day lives. Maybe it's that guilt that hits you when you close your laptop after a long workday and realize you missed yet another school event. Or maybe it's that heaviness of trying to constantly be the good enough mom while also being the reliable professional and feeling like you're just failing at both. Or maybe it's the loneliness of navigating huge life decisions, whether that's career pivots, boundaries with your family, your own identity outside of being a mom, and not having anyone who really truly gets it. Or maybe it's that voice inside wondering if your own professional skills even matter anymore now that you're a mom, or if that dream you've been sitting on is even worth pursuing. And then how about this one? You know that quiet voice inside? That voice that keeps whispering, there's something more I'm meant to do. But you're too exhausted, too scared, or even too conditioned to listen to that quiet voice inside. Now, here's what I've observed, both personally and through every single conversation I've had on this podcast in this season and in previous seasons. So many of us are walking around carrying the weight of impossible standards while simultaneously dimming our own light within us. Because we've been told that motherhood means self-sacrifice. We've been told that asking for help makes us weak. We've been told that trusting our intuition is selfish. We've been told that we need to have it all figured out. And we've been told that we should abandon our careers or our creativity to be good mothers. And the truth is, that narrative is keeping us stuck. Because here's what I know for sure. After 3 incredible seasons since we rebranded and 11 powerful conversations just in this season 6 alone. Mama friends, you are not alone in this struggle. These experiences that we have, the guilt, the overwhelm, the identity crisis, the constant questioning, the career crossroads, the overthinking, they happen to all of us. Even the moms who look like they have it all together, they're also navigating their own version of this journey. Now, every single guest this season has shared a version of the same core truth. That motherhood is both messy, beautiful, and nothing like what we were told it would be. Like, there is no playbook for motherhood. For example, remember our guest Amy Vale, our foster mama and entrepreneur. She reminded us that you can deeply care about multiple things at the same time, and that's not only okay, it's powerful. Then my friend Marvik, who is a 25-year educator, she gave us permission to release the 100% myth and just find peace with being good enough in every role. And you get to define that good enough. And then that fiery conversation with Susan Liu, loved her energy. She showed us what it looks like to break generational cycles and trust our inner knowing, even when it's uncomfortable. Then Jessica Manka, she taught us that sometimes the scariest thing isn't the leap itself. The scariest thing is staying in a life that betrays who we really are. And finally, Kelsey Cook, I loved what she gave us as who identify as teacher moms. She completely dismantled the narrative of I'm just a teacher myth by building a 6-figure business that serves families in all 50 states, showing us that you aren't limited by your title or identity. Now, what's the common thread through all of these examples? These are all deeply human experiences. So here's what I want to offer you today, not as someone who has it all figured out, because let's be real, I don't, but as someone who's also walking this journey alongside you. And so today in this episode, I am sharing with you the 9 key themes that emerged across every conversation this season. And I'm sharing them as tools for you to use as you navigate your own motherhood journey and how to give yourself permission to be fully you. So number 1 is release the 100% myth, because truth be told, you cannot give 100% to everything. And here's the permission you've been waiting for. You don't have to. And Marvik said it best in her episode. She said, I realized I couldn't give 100% to my profession and 100% to being a mom. So instead of spiraling into guilt, Marvik found peace with being good enough in both roles. Then Sabrina Lopez, she introduced us to this concept of glass balls versus rubber balls. And she said, some things will break if you drop them, which is the glass balls, and some will bounce back, which is rubber balls. Now, your job is to figure out which is which for this season of your life. So I'm going to invite you to think for yourself is what's one rubber ball you've been treating like glass? And what would it feel like to let it bounce? Alrighty, let's start with number 1. Let go of perfection, because you cannot give 100% to everything. And here's the permission you've been waiting for. You don't have to. As Marvik said it best, she said, I realized I couldn't give 100% to my profession and 100% to being a mom. And instead of spiraling into guilt, she found peace with being good enough in both roles. And then we had Sabrina Lopez. She introduced us to the concept of glass balls versus rubber balls. Some things will break if you drop them, which are the glass balls, and some will bounce back, which are the rubber balls. And your job is to figure out which is which for this season of life. So I invite you to ponder on this question. What's one rubber ball you've been treating like glass? And what would it feel like to let it bounce? Number 2, trust your intuition, even when it's scary. And I loved it when Carissa Carasy gave us the really fear-dissolving question, which is, what's the worst thing that could happen? I ask myself that question a lot. And for her, when she asked herself that question about leaving her stable education career, the answer wasn't catastrophic. It was, I could move back home or I could try again. Then we had Susan Liu, who reminded us, no one's watching. No one cares. If it's on your heart and mind, why not give it to yourself? I love that reminder. So remember this, your intuition is not your enemy. It's your internal GPS trying to guide you home to yourself. So for you, what's one intuitive nudge you've been ignoring? You know that thing that tugs at your heart or even that you feel it in your gut? What is that? And then ask yourself, what's the worst thing that could actually happen if you listened to it? All right, number 3, honor your feelings. Yes, friends, we are going to be talking about your feelings and your emotions here because as you remember, Gwen Siegel in her story, she really dropped this truth bomb that I love and I'm still sitting with, is that being quote unquote too emotional is actually your leadership superpower. Like who would have thought? Our emotions, they carry wisdom and they're actually a good thing to have. So we should honor them because I don't know about you, but for so long, many of us have been told and conditioned to tone our emotions down, be more rational, stop being so sensitive. Ooh, that last one, that just hits me right in the gut because I definitely have heard that quite a bit. But what if your emotions and the depth of your emotions is exactly what makes you an incredible mother, leader, and most importantly, human being? Now, Kim Romaine, in her story, she taught us about conscious separation, which is the practice of recognizing that your child's or anyone else's experience isn't about you. And conscious separation is when we can hold space for emotions without making them mean something about our worth. And when we do that, we can create ease for ourselves and for other people. So I want you to think about this question here. Where have you been apologizing for your emotions instead of honoring them? Alrighty, number 4, set boundaries without guilt. Ooh, that guilt, that mama guilt is strong. So let me say that again. Set boundaries without guilt. And Julia Sewell said something that made me really pause in our conversation. She said, you are a member of the family that you serve, not just the person serving everyone else. And then we had Carissa, who reminded us, nothing is well unless you are well. Centering yourself centers others. Then we had Amy Vale, who showed us what it looks like to choose one important thing over another without guilt. Because in her story, when she ran out of product while prioritizing a foster baby's legal case, she said, I wouldn't have done anything differently. And then Gwen Siegel, she had to learn that advocating for herself, even when it didn't look pretty or polished, was actually one of the most important things she could model for her child. Because setting boundaries wasn't selfish, it was teaching her kid what healthy relationships actually look like. Now, there's this powerful quote that I love from Prentice Hemphill that I read in Brene Brown's Atlas of the Heart book, which said, boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. So listen to that again. I'm going to say it again because I love this quote. Boundaries are the distance at which I can love you and me simultaneously. Because boundaries aren't about pushing people away or being selfish. They're about creating the space where you can actually love both yourself and the people you care about at the same time. Because here's the truth, mama friends. Boundaries help you care for yourself so that you can care for your family and others. You've heard it before, but it bears repeating. You can't pour from an empty cup. So when you set boundaries, you're not taking away from your family. You're actually ensuring you have something to give. So, for you, what's one boundary you need to set to honor the fact that you are also a member of your family? Okie dokies. Number 5, build your village, because you can't do this alone. Sabrina Lopez created the Mother House Collective because she realized we need community to survive and thrive in motherhood, not just to enhance it. And then there's Kelsey Cook. She built a whole business while building her village to support her. She has a team of 20 women who help her serve families across all 50 states. Then there's Jessica Wan, who navigated motherhood without her own mother, and she found her way by connecting with others who could hold space for her journey. And each of these stories show that when we journey together, we thrive. And I love the phrase, together we rise. And here's what research actually backs up. Our relationship with others are one of the biggest contributors to our happiness and well-being and our longevity. It's not our achievements, not our accomplishments, not checking all the boxes. It's our connections with other human beings. So why not lean into building those village relationships? Because at the end of the day, life is meant to be lived in community with others. We all want to be seen, heard, and understood. We all need to know we're not alone in this. And when we create those connections, when we build our villages intentionally, we're not just surviving motherhood, we're actually thriving in it. So for you, my friend, who's in your village right now? And if you're feeling like your village feels a little bit too small, that's okay. What's one step you can take to build it? Alrighty, we're chugging along here. Number 6, do things differently. And I loved it when Susan Liu came onto the podcast and she shared how she is teaching her 4-year-old son that his feelings and body matter. Because for her, when she grew up, she never got that message growing up. Then there's Kim Moraine, how she's practicing conscious separation so her daughter can be her own person, having her own experience. Then there's my really good friend Marvik, where she tells her daughters, I've never parented you at this age before, and we're figuring this out together. Here's what Susan, Kim, and Marvik are all showing us. Doing things differently means consciously choosing to parent differently than when we were parented. And that choice creates new, healthier patterns for our kids. But let's be real about what this actually requires. Because when you're choosing to do things differently, you're essentially parenting yourself while parenting your child. You're giving your kids what you never got, which means you have to learn it, practice it, and model it, often for the first time in your own life. And let me tell you, it's hard work because some days it feels impossible. But it's also deeply rewarding work because at the end of the day, we're consciously choosing to do better for our kids, not from a place of shame about how we were raised, because we can honor that part of us, but from a place of love for who we're becoming as moms and parents and who we're helping our kids become. So for you, what's one thing that you want to consciously do differently? And how are you giving yourself grace through that process? Number 7, tap into your strengths. Now, here's what Kelsey Cook wants every teacher mom to know. You are not just a teacher. You're a manager, communicator, creative problem solver, and relationship builder. These are the exact strengths that translate into entrepreneurship. Then there's Jessica Monka, who recognized her strengths in building relationships and developing people, and used them to create a coaching business aligned with her values. Then there's Carissa, who tapped into nearly 20 years of educational leadership skills to become a certified career coach helping burned out teachers. And then Jessica Wan, well, she realized that all those years spent developing people and building teams and marketing weren't just her past, they were exactly the strengths she needed to become an executive coach today. Now, what all of them showed us is that your strengths don't disappear when you become a mom. If anything, motherhood helps you see them more clearly. Now, here's what I've learned working with clients who are incredible moms, that your skills are transferable. Your experience matters, and your strengths that you've been using in one area of your life can absolutely serve you in another. So, think about what strengths have you been overlooking or maybe dismissing since becoming a mom? And what if those exact strengths and skills are preparing you for your next chapter? All right, number 8, which is my favorite one to share with y'all. It is take care of yourself consistently. I'm going to say that one more time for you and myself. Take care of yourself consistently. Carissa Carasy introduced us to the 7 types of rest: physical, mental, emotional, social, sensory, creative, and spiritual. Because taking care of yourself isn't just about the bubble baths and spa days. It's actually about recognizing what kind of rest you actually need and giving yourself permission to receive it. Then Julia Sewell taught us about behavior layering, which is about small, consistent actions that create sustainable self-care over time. Not drastic overhauls that last a week, but intentional practices that you can actually maintain. What we're talking about here is building tiny habits. Then there's Kim Romaine and Jessica Manca, who both reminded us taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's actually self-leadership is what I like to call it, and I borrowed it from my friend Grace. The internal work you do, the rest you give yourself, the boundaries you set, all of that serves everyone around you. When you're well, your family benefits. When you're depleted, everyone feels it. So I'm going to remind you and I again that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's a form of self-leadership. Now, here's what I want you to understand. Taking care of yourself is actually how you build the capacity to show up for everything else in your life. You build that capacity by giving yourself rest when you need it, even when it feels inconvenient. You build it by doing the deep work of actually knowing yourself, not who you think you should be, but who you actually are. And finally, you build it by recognizing your own limits before you hit them. And here's the beautiful and amazing thing, is that when you consistently take care of yourself, you model for your kids what healthy self-care actually looks like. You teach them that their needs matter. You show them that rest isn't weakness, it's actually wisdom. And that modeling, that's one of the greatest gifts you can give them. So, for you, which type of rest are you most depleted in right now? What's one small way you could take care of yourself this week? Not as a luxury, but as a necessity. Alrighty, finally we have number 9, be fully you. And Carissa said it beautifully. There is no arrival point in motherhood or career. Embrace the evolution. And Jessica Wan showed us what this looks like in real life. For years, she didn't think children were in her future, but at 35, after 15 years with her partner, everything shifted. Her story reminds us that we get to evolve, change our minds, and write new chapters, even ones we never imagined for ourselves. And Susan reminded us, live like you're mortal. We don't know our timeline, so what are we waiting for? And here's what I keep coming back to personally. We can always begin again. Every single day, every single moment, we get to choose who we're becoming. And this journey of becoming who you're meant to be doesn't follow a straight line. You're allowed to change direction. You're allowed to discover new parts of yourself. You're allowed to become a version of yourself you never expected. And that doesn't mean you were wrong before. It means you're growing. So what if you stopped waiting for some future version of yourself to be quote unquote ready or enough? What if being fully you means embracing exactly where you are right now? The messy parts, the evolving parts, the parts that don't fit the plan you once had. Because isn't this what life is actually about? It's not the destination, not the achievement, not the moment when everything finally falls into place. It's about being here, in this imperfect moment, recognizing that this is where life is happening. You see, being fully you means accepting that the journey that you're on is the destination. So, for you, what would shift if you stopped waiting to, quote unquote, arrive and started embracing who you're becoming right now? Alrighty, as we wrap up these 9 themes, I want to take a moment to bring it all home. So here's what I want you to hear, my fellow mama friend. You have everything you need to navigate this journey because you don't need to be perfect. You don't need to have it all figured out. You don't need to sacrifice yourself to be a good mother, and you don't need to abandon your career dreams or your creative callings. What you do need is to give yourself permission to trust your intuition, set boundaries without guilt, honor your feelings, let go of perfection, build your village, do things differently, tap into your strengths, take care of yourself consistently, and most importantly, be fully you. Because you deserve to live with confidence, authenticity, and joy. You deserve to be the sun in your family's solar system, as Julia Sebo says. You deserve to bet on yourself, like Amy Vale did. You deserve to find peace with being good enough, like Marvick modeled. You deserve to follow what lights you up, like Kelsey Cook demonstrated. You deserve to trust that your emotions are your strength and to honor them, like Gwen Siegel taught us. Because remember, becoming a mother did not make your life any less sacred. Your dreams, your needs, your callings, they still matter. So if you're giving yourself grace like I do today and every day as I navigate my own motherhood journey with my tween and teen, then these words are for you. Mama friend, you can do hard things, and you don't have to do them alone. And finally, because I want you to have something tangible to hold on to as you navigate these 9 themes, I've created a phone wallpaper for your phone, which is called the Mama Manifesto. It has all 9 reminders you need to hear in an easy and accessible format on your phone because we always have our phones with us. Whenever you need that daily reminder that you're already enough, just look at your phone, download it as your wallpaper, or save it as a picture. You can download it for free at empoweredworkingmomrevolution.com. And while you're there, make sure to sign up for our newsletter so we can stay connected between episodes and between seasons. So what's ahead for the podcast? We're going to be taking the next few months of this remaining year off, and we'll be back on air in 2026. The exact date, I have no idea right now. But we'll continue to bring you more real, honest stories from moms navigating this journey of motherhood in all its messiness and beautiful parts of motherhood. Because that Pinterest perfection and highlight reel that we sometimes see on our social media feeds, that's not what we need right now. What we need is to keep showing up for each other with vulnerability, truth, and the reminder that there's no single right way to do this mommyhood thing. And so if you want to stay connected between now and when we relaunch in 2026, I'd love to invite you to join the Empowered Working Mom Revolution newsletter. Head over to empoweredworkingmomrevolution.com to sign up. It's where I'll share more insights, reflections, maybe some behind the scenes content from the podcast between now and when we relaunch in 2026. And if this season really resonated with you, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. It helps more moms discover these stories and join our community. And because when we amplify diverse stories of motherhood, we can all feel more seen, heard, and supported. And lastly, a huge thank you to every single guest who has trusted me with their story this season. Thank you so much for your vulnerability, wisdom, and willingness to show us what authentic motherhood looks like. And to every listener who's tuned in, left a review, shared an episode, or sent me a message, thank you for being part of this community. You're the reason this work matters. And finally, to you, my mama friend, who's listening right now. Thank you for choosing to show up for yourself, because that's the first step in the revolution. All right, mama friends, wishing you a wonderful rest of your week. And I can't wait to continue sharing more real, honest conversations with you in 2026. Signing off, and I'll see you later.